All right. Is the presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we shall start with the project selection. So how a project is selected, what are the different parameters that one needs to consider while selecting the particular project. Okay. So project selection starts once the entrepreneur has generated few ideas of project. After having some ideas, these project must meet economic condition, market condition, and the government policies and so on. For this purpose, a tool is generated used what is called as SWOT analysis. The intending entrepreneur analyzes his strengths and weaknesses as well as opportunities and competitive advantages and threats and challenges. So SWOT basically means strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so S stands for strength, W stands for weakness, O stands for opportunities, T stands for threats or challenges. Okay? Offered by each of the project ideas. In addition, the entrepreneur needs to analyze other related aspects also, like raw material, as you can see, okay? Raw material, potential market, labor, capital, which we call it as investment, then location and forms of ownership. Okay, so what kind of a ownership that this particular project is more suitable of? Okay, some of the projects could be could have a ownership of like proprietorship, or some maybe like a partnership, or some maybe like public and private uh, partnership that we call it as triple P. Right. Each of these aspects have to be evaluated independently, and relation to each of these aspects, this forms a continuous and back and forth process, as you can see in the diagram. So basically, project selection is nothing but, okay, you have to select the project based on what? Based on your strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Now, apart from these, there are other parameters also that one needs to consider while selecting a project. Like, do you have the raw material? What is the potential market for the product that you are developing? What is the labor that is needed? What kind of a labors do you need? Then there is an investment. Then there is a location. Do I have a perfect location to start up with this project? And also, you got to think about the ownership also, like what kind of an ownership is more suitable for the given project, right? So all these have to be analyzed, okay, have to be taken into consideration, have to be evaluated, re-evaluated if necessary, and then you could, start up with the project. So this is a simple, concept where you learn how to select your project. Okay. Now, moving forward, let us look into the meaning and significance of project report. Okay, so basically, whenever you start up with a project, you prepare a project report. Okay, so that's what you do in your seventh sem and in your eighth sem or seventh sem, even in your mini projects, you prepare a report. So why is that? That report, of course, is much more different than the reports that you prepare. Okay, so why is the project report needed? Okay, what is the significance of this project report? Okay, so let us see. The preparation of projects report is of great significance for an entrepreneur. The project report serves two essential purposes. Okay, so basically, we are answering the question, why do we need a project report? Why is the project report so important? Okay. Now for that, you have two answers. There are two purposes that will be served by this project report. The first one is the project report is like a roadmap. It describes the direction the enterprise is going in, what its goals are, where it wants to be, and how it is going to get there. In addition, it enables the entrepreneur to know that he is proceeding in the right direction. So basically, project report is nothing but a plan. Okay? So you are at one position at a particular point of time, and you want to reach some, you know, a certain position in the process. So how do you reach that? Okay? How do you reach that? What should be the goal for an enterprise? Okay, and where do you want to achieve those things, and how to achieve it? So all of these will be embedded in this project report. And by having a project report, entrepreneur can easily evaluate if he is proceeding in the right direction, can easily check if he is proceeding in the right direction. Okay? The next one, the second purpose of the project report is to attract lenders and investors. The preparation of project report is beneficial for those small-scale enterprises which apply for financial assistance from the financial institution and commercial banks. So the second purpose is, for example, I have an idea, I want to convert this into a project. Um, I've done all the market research and everything, but what do I lack is I don't have a capital. So in order to attract that capital, in order to attract the investors, okay, I need to present my idea to them. Okay, and in order to do that, project report will aid you in, in conveying your idea to the potential lenders or investors. So you can easily present yourself through the project report because it's a detailed document. Okay? Every process, every method, okay, what kind of a raw materials are needed, what kind of a machineries are needed, what are the labor, you know, needs, and everything will be described in the report in detail. So having that at your hand, you can easily attract your potential investors, and you can have capital for yourself in order to kickstart your project. Okay, so project report is very much important. All right. So now, since we have understood well, the importance of having a project report, now let us look into the contents of the project report. What are the contents that a report should have in general? Okay. Now, what are the contents of a project report? Now, what are the contents here? Now you can see the first one is general information, like information on product profile and product details. For example, what kind of a product you want to manufacture. If it is service, what kind of a service do you want to offer, right? And what are the details of those services or what are the details of those products? So that should be, you know, should be present in your project report. The next one is promoter. For example, his or her education qualification, work experience, project related experience. Basically, um, if I'm trying to, you know, have a project, I need to introduce myself in the report also. How do I introduce myself in the report? Is through, you know, having the education qualification in there. What education do I have? What is the work experience do I have? and what is the project experience, okay, that I have at my hand. So that again should be there in your project report. The next one is location, exact location of the project, lease or freehold location advantages. For example, where do you want to start this project? So that location has to be precisely stated. And also you need to mention how do you want to hold that location? Do you want to lease the location, or do you want to freehold the location, or do you want to own the location, or already you have that location? So everything is to be stated. The next one is location advantage. You need to explain to the investor that why did I choose this location for this particular project? What are the advantages of it? For example, do I get electricity? Okay, and the water, and also do I have a place for discharging the waste materials? So all that it could be mentioned in location advantages. Just a minute. All right. So all right. The next one is land and building. Okay, so you need to mention the land area, construction area, type of construction, how do you want to build it, cost of construction, detailed plan of the building, and estimated along with the plant layout. So all this has to be included. Okay. The next one is plant and machinery. Details of machinery required, capacity, suppliers cost, various alternatives available, cost of miscellaneous assets. So all this again have to be mentioned or are the contents of the project report. The next one is production process. Description of production process, process chart, technical know-how, technology alternatives available, production program. For example, you need to explain how do you plan to produce a product. So that is nothing but the production process. What is the first step? What is the next step? What is the other steps? What could be the last step? So all this have to be explained, and there should be a process chart. Okay, and technical know-how. That means how well versed are you in the technical aspects. That also has to be mentioned. Then technology alternatives available. For example, I'm going with one technology, but again, I need to also search for the alternative technologies. And if the alternatives are better than the one that is used by me, I should be able to adapt that particular technology, right? So all this have to be mentioned. Next one is utilities. For example, water, power, steam, compressed air requirements, cost estimates, sources of utility. For example, is there water? What kind of a water are you getting in that particular location? Power. Okay, so how is the power supply? Okay, and what is the timeline of the power? Steam. Okay, similarly, compressed air requirements. Similarly, cost estimates, sources of utility. The next one is transport and communication. So basically, mode, possibility of getting, costs. So, what kind of a transportation do I need to employ in order to, run my project? So that has to be mentioned. The mode of transportation has to be mentioned. Okay. The next one is raw materials. Okay. So you know that if anybody is planning to produce a certain product, the first thing that you need is a raw material. Okay, so you got to mention the list of raw materials required by quality and quantity. That means you got to mention both the quality aspects of the raw material as well as the quantity aspects of the raw material. Then sources of procurement. Where have you planned to get it from? Then the cost of the raw material. What is the cost of the raw materials? Tie-up arrangements. What kind of tie-up do you have with the source and your industry? If any for procurement of raw materials, alternative raw materials, if any. Okay, so all this have to be detailedly mentioned in your project report. The next one is manpower. For example, manpower requirement for skilled and semi-skilled. For example, what kind of a manpower do you need? What kind of a labor do you need? Do you need a skilled labor? And if you need a skilled labor, for what process do you need a skilled labor? And do you need a semi-skilled labor? For what process do you need a semi-skilled labor? Right? Or do you need an unskilled labor wherein you just take in the labor and then train him? That also needs to be mentioned. Sources of manpower supply. For where are you gonna get these labors from or the manpower from? Cost of procurement. That means what could be the wage of these labors or the manpower? Requirement for training and its cost. So if there is a train that needs to be given to this manpower or the labor, then that needs to be also be mentioned. What kind of a training do we need to give to these manpower or the labors? And what is the cost of it? That also needs to be taken. The next one is products, product mix, estimated sales distribution channels, competitions, and the capacities, product standard, input output ratio, product substitute. Okay, so you need to mention regarding the product. What kind of a product are you gonna manufacture? Okay, then estimated sales distribution channels. Have you? What are your distribution channels that also need to be mentioned? For example, if I'm producing a product that has to reach to the consumer, so in order to reach to the consumer, then there are the distribution channels. There are many distribution channels. Among them, what distribution channels have I chosen? So that also needs to be mentioned. Then what is the competition in the market? Because they if you are producing a product, there will also be the other products which are similar to your products. For example, you are producing a biscuit. There are many biscuits in the industries, in the market available for the consumers. So those companies which are manufacturing them, they become your competitors. And also you need to know the capacity. Okay, what is their capacity? What is your competitor's capacity? That also need to be mentioned. And then product standard. What are the standards that one needs to maintain in order to manufacture a product? Okay, input output ratio. For example, if this much of the raw materials is needed for producing a particular product, then how many units of the product could be manufactured? That again needs to be mentioned. Then product substitute shall also be mentioned in the project report. The next one is market. End users of product. Distribution of market as local, national, and international. Trade practices. Sales promotion devices. Proposed market research. Okay. So, for example, if you're producing a product, manufacturing a product, you also need to mention who are the end users of those products. Okay, that also need to be mentioned. Then What kind of a market are you targeting? Are you targeting the local markets or national markets, or you dream even to the international market? So that again needs to be mentioned in your project report. What are your trade practices? How are you going to deal uh, with the distribution channels? Okay, what would be your profit margin? What would be their profit margin? Everything has to be again mentioned. Sales promotion devices. So how do you promote your product? Okay. So, for example, there are nowadays there are many platforms where you can promote your products online, TV advertisements, magazine advertisements, newspaper advertisements. You have many, right? So amongst them, which platform have you chosen? Okay, that again needs to be mentioned. And then market research. Okay, so basically what you need to do is, if you're starting a project, first thing that you got to do is you got to do the market research. The market research will tell you what is the probability of your product getting popular. So that again also need to be mentioned in the project report. The next one is a requirement of working capital. Working capital required. Sources of working capital. Need for collateral security. Nature and extent of credit facilities offered and available. For example, if you are going to start some kind of a project, what you need is that you need money. Okay. So how much of money do you require? So that becomes your working capital required. That again needs to be stated. Sources of working capital. Where have you planned to get this working capital? Get the money from? That has to be mentioned. Need for collateral security. Okay. So deals that you have with the finances and yourself. Okay. That again needs to be mentioned. Nature and extent of credit facilities offered and available. Okay. Credit facilities in a sense, um, you buy a raw material, but you don't pay him. Okay. You don't pay him. You give it for credit, and then there is a deal in between you and him that you will be paying him after a month, after a week, after a certain stage of production, right? So that is nothing but credit facilities that are offered to you as well as that are available in the market. So that again needs to be mentioned. Next one is requirements of funds. Break up project cost in terms of cost of land, building, machinery, miscellaneous assets, preliminary expenses, contingencies and margin money for working capital, arrangements for the meeting, the cost of setting up of the project. So in the requirement of funds, you need to mention the breakup of project cost in terms of cost of land. What is the cost of land? What is the cost of the building that you have planned to build? What is the cost of the machinery that you have planned to implement in your plan? What are the miscellaneous um, you know miscellaneous assets? Okay. Then what are the preliminary expenses? Okay. So everything, every minute detail of how you are going to be using the funds that are generated. That again needs to be mentioned in the project report. Next one, cost of production and profitability of first 10 years. Okay, so you need to mention what is the cost of the production. Okay, so you need to mention what is the cost of the production, or even in terms of units. Okay, for example, if I'm producing 1,000 units of a particular product. Then what is the cost of every unit that I've used? Okay, and then what is the cost at which I'm gonna sell it? And what is the profit that remains with me? That again needs to be, and that too for the first 10 years, that again needs to be stated in your project report. The next one is break-even analysis. This is very interesting. What is break-even analysis? For example, you're investing certain amount and then you're starting a project. So once you've produced a certain units of product, so you'll be getting some share of profit from that product. So at what stage or at what time is your investment and profit at the same level? Okay. Or you can say, whatever I've invested, the time when I get the investment back. Okay, for example, if I'm investing 1 lakh in some project, okay, the project will produce some kind of a product and that product will be sold and I'll be getting the profit. Okay, so I'll getting the money back, not profit until now. And so I'll be getting the money back. At what time? Is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Is it a year? That again needs to matter. So at what time will my investment and the return be equal? Okay, I've invested 1 lakh. If I get 1 lakh back, so that becomes the break even. Okay, so whatever I've invested, I've got it back. So that is break even. Now after that, whatever I get is profit. Is profit. So I also need to mention that too in my project report. Okay. The next one is schedule of implementation. So timetable. Schedule is nothing but the timetable. Timetable of every implementation. Okay. For example, first month I'm gonna do this work. Second month, these are the work that will be completed. Third month, first unit of the product will be developed. So such kind of a schedule has to be mentioned. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the next one is formulation of a project report. Okay. So what are the project formulation divides the process of project development into 8 distinct and sequential stages as follows. And this is again proposed by an author whose name is Gupta. Okay. So what are those stages? What are those 8 stages? The first one is general information. So what do we have in a general information? Let me tell you that. We have the biodata of the promoter. Okay. In general information, what do we have? We have biodata of the promoter. What is the biodata of the promoter contains? First of all, it contains the name and the address of the promoter. Promoter in the sense, the project owner or a project proposer. Okay, is nothing but the promoter. So the name of the promoter as well as the address of the promoter, qualification of the promoter, experience and other capabilities of the promoter. Similar information of each partner if it is the partnership firm. If it's a partnership firm, then every partner's information has to be detailedly stated. The next one is Industry profile. Okay, so what does the industry profile mean? Okay, so what does industry profile mean? A reference analysis of industry to which the project belongs. For example, past performance, present status, its organization, its problems, etc. Okay, so industry profile in the sense, you need to have information regarding the other organization who are working on a similar project. Okay, or the product in the sense, what is the past performance of the product? In past too, there are many, there may be many promoters who have promoted similar products. So what was the performance then? What is the status now? That is the present status. Okay, and what were the organizations who have tried producing the similar product or was still producing the similar product? Okay, and the challenges. What are the challenges that those organizations are facing, if they are facing, etc. So these need to be mentioned in the industry profile, and this is again a part of general information. The next one is the next subcontent of general information is constitution and organization. The constitution and organization structure of the enterprise in case of partnership firm, its registration with the registrar of firms, certification form from the Directorate of Industries or District Industry Center. Basically, it means constitution and organization means you need to have, you know, you need to have register your firm with the district registrar or an industry registrar and so on. So that becomes the constitution and organization. Okay. The next one is product details. So what are the product details? I mean, product utility, product range, product design, advantages to be offered by the product over its substitutes. Yeah. The product utility in the sense, what is product utility? Product utility means how can this product be used? Because some of the product, if you see, they are multi-usage product. They have more than one use to it. Okay. So how could this product be used in multiple ways? Or even in a single way, whatever it is. Product range. Yeah. So product range in the sense, for example, if you're producing a mobile, okay, just consider that you're producing a mobile. You don't produce a single model of it. You produce multiple models of the mobile with various features. So that again needs to be mentioned. The product design, okay, design of the product that you're going to manufacture. Then, what are the advantages to be offered by the product? Okay, so basically to say that how is your product more superior to others? How it is advantageous? That again needs to be mentioned. Okay, all right. All right, okay. So we shall stop it here now because since I had some other work to do. So we shall stop it here as of now and continue in our next class. Okay. Now, will, are there any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Then thank you very much for joining. Have a nice day and God bless you.